Good morning. So, the question was, what can the global positioning chip in your cell phone do? Now, that's kind of an odd or silly question. So I asked it of myself. That little chip in your cell phone, it's a separate discrete device, a GPS chip that can tell your location. You turn this feature off and on in your cell phone, GPS location. If you turn it off, is it really off? If you'll notice, if you do turn that off and you go do a query, a search for a location, Google might ask you to turn it on because they want an exact location. But keep on pressing buttons, you'll find Google actually knows where you are because the cell phone communication has a generic location information with it. Those are the rules. So they know you're in Portland, as my example. That's where I get placed, that's where I live, that's where I spend most of my time. When I turn GPS on, it locates exactly where I am. Near exactly. Within feet. But I've also seen GPS be off by hundreds of feet. I used to drive taxi, basically. And watching my car driving 20 feet off a bridge on that little display is unnerving. So, just interesting uses of the GPS functions inside an application and what it can do. But back to that GPS chip. These are called ASIC devices. ASIC. Now, this is a kind of old-dated term because lots of new terms have come along to replace it, more specific terms. There is a number of different architectures for building these devices, software applications for building these devices. Very interesting stuff, huge stuff. So anyway, what can that ARM chip do, or that RISC chip do? That depends on the instruction set designed into the chip. And who can talk to that chip? Confused yet? Is this getting bigger, more connected, or am I just doing a poor presentation? It'd be better with drawings. But this is what these little chips do. There is another one of these chips. Actually, they're ubiquitous. They're in every electronic device around, just about. Custom-made chips to run a specific thing, like a cell phone, like a laptop computer versus a home computer. Different chipsets, different architectures. One seeking the lowest of power and efficiency, the other is seeking maybe brute force, run balls to the walls. Because you don't have to worry about battery life. So you design, you engineer, you have different requirements for very specific little microprocessors and electronics that goes into devices. And you own the patents and copyrights. And since they're secret, they're proprietary secret, they don't have to tell you everything that chip can or can't do. This also came up. I was wondering, how do Teslas, after driving one for some time, could sense what little chip up in the front of that car with some type of processor. It's either looking for visual or it's listening somehow. Little radar device in the front of your car. It's based on this ASIC technology. Some other device sends a command, says, hey, is there anything there? Is there anything there? But there's other commands you can send to that device. If you can find the command list for the device, it's called the instruction set. Manufacturer, device specific. You can begin to learn about what else can be called from within that chip. Can your GPS device in whatever platform you're sitting on be pulled without your knowledge, be turned on, be questioned without your knowledge to find your location? Now there's a challenge here. Is this a bad guy scenario or a good guy scenario? But what these chips can do, this is part of the logging, the knowing where you are and what you are. Reference one specific chip that is called a GPS chip. You'll find a number of manufacturers, and then you can say, hey, how do I work with that chip? Now you're in the land of software. The hardware was done before you got there. It's a device with capabilities, and if you know them, you might be able to put them to use, for good or for bad. So this is just how it works. This is based upon human generations of learning, of building on the knowledge of the people whose shoulders we stand on. I blame electrons. Peace out.